It's only Tuesday. Oh, Phoenix is rising, and so are we, everyone. I came up with a new tagline when you were gone. I hope you liked that one. Welcome into the PHNX
Been
Welcome to the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us here on a Tuesday. I am Max Simpson, and I'm joined by Jake Tie Guy Anderson. Unfortunately, cannot be here tonight, which means we are left with this guy, the one, oh, thank goodness, the only, Mr. Owain Evans. How we doing, buddy?
We're good, me. There's been a lot going on. A lot going on.
There has been quite a lot going on. How's your trip? You've been gone for a bit.
Yeah, I've been gone for a bit, yeah.
Did you enjoy a little vacation? Rising extended coverage?
There was rising coverage on that trip because, of course, there is. That was it was an interesting one. Different experience, of course. Not usually that you watch Rising in the kind of temperatures that I was watching something Rising related.
Yeah.
It was a definitely an interesting trip.
Yeah, that's very fair. Well, take off 2 weeks or so. It's cool. Not everyone can do that. I've certainly haven't done that this season. But hey, glad to have you back. See Paul in the chat. What's up? Whoa, you guys don't start early. I'm still making coffee. This isn't starting early. This is starting on time, which I guess has been early for us. You know us. We're typically running
Are you running late, Max, normally?
No, our
See, you get a downvote when you start talking back to people.
Whoa! No, I wasn't
dislike, yeah.
It wasn't talking back. Cool. It was acknowledging his comment.
No.
Hey, you would change it. Hey. No, it's not talking back. It's more so we're not starting early. Our just customary has been a few minutes late. We're running on PHNX Rising time,
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, typically,
Ad-man time.
Well, no, typically the people are, waiting for you to finally get post-game, and, getting to post-game being late, keeping everyone waiting. So, we've just decided to carry that over to our usual Tuesday show. How about that?
You've been doing that in my absence. You've been making them late.
Yeah, a couple of minutes late. Just let them settle in. Really build the anticipation.
It's not working,
Statlacky Reese. Max is always running late. Well, Statlacky, I hope your wisdom teeth are doing well. We'll have a little surprise for you later. But by the way, everyone, those dislikes, don't do that. That hurts the algorithm. Don't do that to Owen. We don't appreciate that. So turn that frown upside down.
Don't do that to me. Do it to him, but not to me.
Well, don't do it on the show at all. It hurts the algorithm. But anyway, we got a lot to get into. In the last week, right? I know since Tuesday's pod, we already discussed quite a lot. On that pod, and yet there's been quite a lot of Rising news that's happened since. And everything from maybe some signings to some stuff off the pitch to even some USL stuff. So many different things have been happening with this team. And if only there was a way to summarize it into a list, so to speak.
Let's go have a look then, Max. Go on, show us what you put on your list.
Well,
I'll then start being picky about what you missed.
Of course. Well, we do have a little look for those of you who are watching on it. Let's take a gander, right? Events that have occurred since our last Phoenix Rising podcast last Tuesday. All right, we have Phoenix Rising assigned defender Juan Carlos Azocar. Juan Guerra graduated from the U.S. Soccer Pro license, right? Mazel tov, coach. There you go. Absolutely. Gaffer. The 2024 regular season schedule has been released, and Manuel Arteaga has been transferred to Tampa Bay Rowdies. We're going to get into all of that during tonight's pod, as well as also some non-rising news that is relevant.
It is rising news of sorts. But yes, the Open Cup, which Max completely forgot about earlier, and I kind of brought it like, oh, what are you missing, Max?
My brain.
And he sat there like the wheels turning.
The hamster's not on the wheel.
Slowly. And all he can think of is tattoo.
No, that's
tattoo.
We're not discussing.
Rumor has it Max is getting a tattoo. Actually, if you go on social media right now, you can submit as well. By the way, your designs for an Adman tattoo, because Max Simpson is getting an Adman tattoo.
You won't. You won't.
Remember, it's got to be. I mean, we want it ideally to be Max as a superhero, and he did promise he'd have a cape as well. It's got to include the word Adman somehow, and it should include his cartoon face, which you can find on social media if you want to look. We actually had this one. It doesn't quite meet all the requirements, but hey, it's a great start. And personally, we were showing this around the studio, and everyone was saying, "Great, good idea. Max should get this."
I mean, this was submitted by Damon. It is a nice design. Doesn't really incorporate the superhero esque vibe, so
it'll do.
It's good. It's
better
good.
than nothing.
It's good. So also has my cartoon head in there, which we don't have to.
You
include.
promised. You said yes.
No.
We will run the clip before this entire saga is over. We've got the clip.
Anyway, Albert in the chat, whoa, early start, don't like that. Again, we're running fashionably on time. It's what we do, Owen's back, Tolan, we finally get in gear, and look at us now.
I'm keeping him in check.
You can do your best. Damon, RGV in a box. Oh, boy. Another one in a box. That's a toughie. That is
RGV are in a box as well, yeah.
That
you missed that one off.
I did.
That was big.
Well,
I've never got to go back to McAllen ever again.
You are going to miss that.
Oh, I am not going to miss that.
Your text describing the situation was a bit, we'll just say it's a bit more
never
inflated, so to speak.
Never having to go there again is a great way to start the season. Shout out as well, actually. Shout out to Albuquerque now, undisputed worst away day in the league.
Yeah, sure, that's fair.
Shout out to Albuquerque. Right.
That's right. Well,
Should we start on the football, though?
Best part of going to Albuquerque.
Never going there in the first place.
Wow, we're not even doing our own usual bet. Hey,
no, it's worse than Sacramento.
That is fair, but yes, alrighty. So, getting into some rising news, right? We start off with the new signing, defender Juan Carlos Azocar.
You can call him a defender, and I think that's actually somewhat.
If we're talking about positionally correct, but he's a guy who really fits the mold of really how Phoenix Rising wants to play. Really has that kind of up and down mentality, and a guy who has familiarity with head coach Juan Guerra.
He's a winger,
of course.
Really, right?
Of course.
He's a winger, and that's why. Is he being described as a defender in these cases? Yes, he's being described as a defender because what he's going to probably play is kind of like that wing-back kind of role. And we've seen him do that for Juan up in Oakland Roots when he was there in 2022. But, when you look at other times, he's also played much further up the field as a winger. He's played in a few different spots. I'm intrigued to see how it works out. I think it's, again, someone who really fits the mold of kind of players you expect to see from Juan Guerra in those wing-back kind of positions. They listed him as a defender on the signing picks as goalie man Pat, yes, but depending on who you are, it depends on what position you're going to be told. And again, he's playing as a wing-back, which in all honesty, the wing-backs of Phoenix Rising have defend in various different amounts. I'll put it that way. They're not all defenders in any real sense of the word.
Sure.
Some are, some aren't. Depending on different stages of the game, different personnel. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to be an interesting acquisition here. Didn't get as much time, I think, as he'd have liked to at San Antonio last season. And it'd be interesting to see what he manages to get done. Again, this is a move that we've been hearing about in the works for a few weeks now, so it's not one that came as a surprise, much like JP Skiers didn't really come as a surprise. Yeah. And of course, another one that I've spoken about a little bit on social media in the past as well. Edgardo Rito has been linked. It'll be interesting to see if those links do ultimately pan out in a minute.
Absolutely. It is rumor season. It is the USL off season. It keeps on giving. Right. But going back to Juan Carlos Azocar, like we said, it is the name of the game. It is that positional flexibility, and not just within, are you a defender? Are you a midfield? But really being almost, dare I say, I don't want to say positionless. That's maybe not the right word, but it's being able to have your talents and what you're able to bring to the pitch. It transcends the box of, you are a defender. You are a possession-based midfielder. It's Rising has brought in guys not only through their re-signings, but also in their new signings. Guys who fit the mold of they are able to be very dynamic players. We actually have a bit of clip, a little highlight reel, so to speak, of new player Juan Carlos Azocar. Right, roll the tape. Right, you can see this guy likes to score goals. Very much boom.
He did
getting
score
in
quite
there.
a few goals in Oakland. Yeah,
bangers.
I'll say this again. He didn't really score in San Antonio last season, but it was a very odd one in terms of his playing time and all those kind of things there. But look at the season before. Again, this is a wide player. He scores 10 goals in Oakland in 2022. He scored 6 goals for an RGV side that is I think, we've got to be honest. And okay, yes, RGV are done now. But they were never especially good. They're always that kind of team that if they'd make it into the playoffs, they'd scrape their way in. The difference you see there, he still scores 6 goals and gets 3 assists in that team.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, a guy who's not always going to be in the position for scoring goals. He is a wide player, but we know that he can finish. We know that he's got that in his repertoire, and it'd be interesting to see how he fits in, especially because, again, right, that midfield, the central midfield is pretty stacked right now. We know, I think, a lot of those players are going to be in those positions and what we're going to expect. We don't know all the forward players that we're going to see on this team. We don't know then quite how he's going to interact with those players. And again, there's still work to be done on the defense as well in terms of building this offseason. So a lot still to see. I'm intrigued how he fits in with various players that are going to be signed in the coming weeks. But again, there's some of those traits you look at, and I think that he's a player who can definitely contribute to this side if he's given the right amount of playing time out there.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, again, it's you look at some of the other guys who are already back in the mix for Phoenix Rising. It just lends itself to the opportunity, those types of players, right, that they really look to bring in within that position of like an Eddie Manjoma, of a Gabi Torres, guys who are able to move up and down the pitch, right? So they have that vertical top line speed, but also guys who, again, they're able to shift into the midfield. They're able to put in crosses. They are able to get back into the defense. And I think, Azocar, he brings something a little bit different, right? He has a bit more of that carrying ability. He has a bit more of like that shot power, like we mentioned. Again, maybe he's not scoring goals for fun last year, but you even see just in that highlight tape, how many goals you see from a guy in that position, whether you classify him as a defender, a midfielder, whatever, guy who is able to take those shots outside the box, keeps the defense honest. We like to see that.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be an interesting signing, especially with his familiar with Phoenix Rising head coach Juan Guerra. It does lead into another guy who has had, experience with Rising head coach Juan Guerra, who is now no longer with Phoenix Rising. News today that
was a really strange transition, by the way.
Why is that? What is
if
that?
he's leaving, of course he had experience with Juan Guerra.
Listen, it's a tie-in. You love my transitions, buddy, and it's not just for ads.
No,
but hey,
they're not just for
it's
spreading.
No.
It's spreading.
You know it. Yeah. Yes. But right, Manuel Arteaga, right? This the guy who was second on the team in goals, 5th in the league in the Golden Boot race. He has now been transferred to Tampa Bay Rowdies. I mean, right, we saw him initially as a guy who was re-signed and, now is heading in a different direction. I'm curious, what do you make of this, right? Because I know that he's a guy who when I initially saw him coming back, it's like, hey, we like the depth piece, but we figured he was going to be they were going to add to that forward depth. Now that he's out the door, I get it. He had maybe a bit of a hot and cold streak at times that season, but a guy who I think when he was able to get consistent, even though it was sparse and few, you can count on him as at least as a goal threat when it was going well, but when it was not, kind of tough.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think he was a player who, in terms of his contribution to the attack, if it was clicking around him, he was fine, but I'm not sure he was the one to spark off anything in that attack. That's the critical thing. And some forwards can be that way. Some forwards can find ways to get involved in the attack, even if it's not coming through to them easily. I struggle a little bit more with that sometimes. Look, he scored a lot of goals last season. Of course he did. At the same time, I don't feel as though he was going to be the first choice going into this season.
Sure.
I think that was more likely to be Darius Formella or someone else should they come in further down the line. And at the end of the day, you can't expect people to hang around when they are able to be starting at other teams, but maybe aren't expected to be starting with you. You can't have that expectation of players. And I think, look, what this move does, frees up an international spot. That can be pretty important here. Never underestimate the importance of that.
Sure.
It also gets someone who, let's be honest, Manuel Arteaga was not going to be one of the lowest paid players on this club, was he? No. Gets him off the books, which frees up, of course, some money there. And at the end of the day, they got a fee. It's an undisclosed fee at the moment. We do not have an estimate of what that fee was. But they did get a fee in. They got a fee of some variety in for him. So, look, I understand that it's disappointing for some people, right? Obviously, he had a very decent season last year, but also worth remembering that's the most goals he scored in a season. So, you've just got to kind of realistically be real here? Is he going to do that again next year? Maybe, maybe not. Do you sell while the market's up?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I see Thomas's both his comments honestly kind of encapsulate the vibe that I feel, right, Manu, with a sad face as well as followed right back afterwards. We can pick up better though, not heartbroken over this move. Honestly, that's kind of my vibe, right? I mean, I think the interesting piece is it's hard to have one without the other, right? I'm not saying that Arteaga's success was solely based off of, Danny Trejo's production or the attention that he gathered, but we also can't, take that for granted. I think Danny Trejo and Manuel Arteaga, when they were playing together, very much took up some threatening positions, and when they were both in form, when they were both having their way with a lot of defenses, it made for a tough outing for the defense. Now, the interesting thing here is, right, it would have been interesting to see how he works off with Darius Formella. You didn't often see those guys really on the same pitch together for too many occasions, at least for valuable matches, meaningful matches, let alone really with both of them kind of in that more out-and-out attacking forward position. Would have been interesting to see how they mix in with Panos, but hey, I guess it's one of those we will not know. And
we'll never know.
Well, and to your point, it's going to be interesting what it looks like with signings coming up with those international spots.
What's interesting for me, actually, and this is now to turn this around a little bit more, is Tampa Bay Rowdies. He's come in as a replacement for JJ Williams, realistically. JJ Williams, they could have kept him around. They did not do so over in Tampa. And that's an intriguing one for me because I know he's also a very good, big player that can play hold up in the attack, right? The choice to replace him with Manuel Arteaga, what does that tell us about the direction that they're choosing to go in? Of course, worth noting again that they've got a new coach over there, Nicky Law, who took over in mid-season after, of course, their previous coach heading over to England League One. Look, it'll be interesting to see how they come out because, again, there's going to be tweaks. We know they were a disappointment at the end of last season. I think there's going to be some work that they're putting in over there to really boost this squad, and we'll see what they do with it.
True. And right, I think I saw Mikey on Twitter essentially, right, equated this to maybe not a like-for-like comparison, but really, in a way, maybe similar to how Greg Hurst, when he left, right? A guy who can bag goals, could be clinical on his day, but also very much, he's just a different type of player, right? I think to us, Formella, he's a dynamic guy. He's a guy who can take up multiple positions. When he has the ball, he can create his own opportunities. Arteaga, heck, even in some ways to Hurst, they need good distribution. You maybe kind of want a guy who can create that himself. Yeah. We will see what happens. Something that you can create yourself is a bit of luck. With our friends at Arizona Lottery.
It's a new one. I haven't hit the Arizona Lottery ad read yet.
I put it in that work, buddy. But Arizona Lottery, folks.
Adman's having a great time here.
Oh, folks, it is the time of the season.
He doesn't even need a scratcher. He's won already. Listen to the joy in this man's voice.
I actually would
He's
like
He's going to get the scratcher afterwards, though.
Where's producer Damon out there? I really could use a scratcher, and I completely forgot to get one before here. But anyway, Arizona Lottery. If they do have their lovely, lovely holiday scratchers, guys, you can win up to $500,000. That's $500,000. Again, take $1 million, cut in half. That could be yours. That could be your scratchers. Start as low as $1. All I'm saying is this. It is great. Little stocking stuffer. Christmas around the corner. It's 6 days from now, I believe. 6 days from now, get a little stocking stuffer. Maybe, a $1 scratcher, maybe a $2 one, $3 one. They got all different increments. Give that either to yourself, to others. It's a very, very easy gift to give. You can find them all over the valley, especially with our friends at Circle K. Great scratchers there. They make a great gift. And yeah, super great for those of you, that special person in your life or Owain. Anyway, go and buy your...
You getting me one, Mac?
Go and buy
get me one?
Yeah, I'll buy one.
Oh, there we go.
I actually literally have so many others in the other room that I forgot to give. But hey, go and buy your holiday scratchers today. Find a retailer, again, like our friends at Circle K, near you at ArizonaLottery.com. You must be 21 years or older to play. And it's fun. And again, I mentioned Circle K.
See, Max is saying this, though, because, of course, if he had the scratchers here and gave me one and I scratched it off and actually won that money, I might just walk out.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
I
can just leave him. I can just leave him hanging.
I get an Adman finder's fee. I'm
not sure about that.
Yep. See,
300K for Banditos gear.
See, Thomas is saying, yep, you spend that on Banditos gear. But yeah, you know what? Again, go to Circle K. That's a great place where you can get Arizona Lottery winnings. You can get a whole bunch of other stuff, guys. You see it on screen. You've been hearing me talk about it. Everyone knows all about Adman, the loves Circle K. Download their Inner Circle program. Again, you get 25 cents off a gallon. For gas, you get free chips, free Polar Pops, everything like that. They even have their 31 days of Circle K. You literally can open up the app and you win prizes seemingly every day. Like, it's really they're just giving away free stuff. Don't quote me on that, but they are. But yeah, it's a great time. I literally won a bag of chips yesterday. I won a free water bottle yesterday. Just fun stuff. Shout out. Look, I'm literally drinking a little Circle K water. There we go. It's awesome. Download the Inner Circle program. Super easy today. All you need is a phone number. And yeah, have a great freaking time. All right. We're going to be having a great time because Phoenix Rising has announced
the USL Championship announced.
Well, you know what I mean. The USL Championship, which includes Phoenix Rising, has announced their 2024 regular season schedule.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting time. And we actually have, for those of you who have not seen it, we do have a little bit of preview. And, of course, I know we're kind of asking the question right on Twitter the other day of, what are some matchups you're looking forward to? But I'll say this. For tonight's episode, we're going to keep this kind of like high level, talk about maybe some nice away days. We will be breaking down the season a bit more in depth on next week's pod. But for today, Owen, your initial thoughts on the schedule.
A lot of home games early. You can see them there. The home games are in white. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 4 away games in that spell to open up the season. Okay, so that's a lot of home games. A lot of home games early. I think, again, it's a nice little balance of keeping those home games away from the middle of the summer when it's at its hottest here. Allows you to get more of them jammed in early, jammed in late. However, I'll say this. It's disappointing, again, to see certain local rivalries being played on Wednesdays. Again, it's the nature of these, unfortunately, these fixture lists. That's the way they work out. It is disappointing that both Orange County and New Mexico will be both on Wednesday nights away from home. But Rising doesn't have any Wednesday night home games. So there's a positive.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. They do have a few Friday night ones. They don't have any Wednesday night home games. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I mean, again, you're playing a lot of teams that you haven't seen particularly much of because they play out in the East. Obviously, there's Rhode Island as well, brand new team. You got North Carolina, a team we haven't seen in the championship for quite some time. They dropped down to League One and are now back. But it'll be interesting to see. And Gollingman Pat, if you go into Detroit away, can I just draw your attention to the fact it's not in August? I know that was on one of the early releases, was that it was in August. It's not. I hope you're aware it's in May. We did clarify that one today. It's going to be on Saturday, May 11th at Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck.
It is. Again, and I keep on stressing we will dive into the schedule a bit further next week. But what are some of the key matchups that you're looking at? Let's target maybe some high-level away days you're looking forward to.
Away days.
Your man likes to travel.
Yeah, let's have a look. So obviously the first away game, Monterey Bay. It's a nice enough place. Tulsa, Friday though. That's what's annoying. Tulsa's a Friday. Rhode Island. I might have to go see our good boy Sean DePaz up in Boston.
Oh,
he's not far away.
He's not far away.
He's not far away from
get him out. Get him out to a little match. You do it.
He said he's tempted to go.
Tempted
to go. May 11th, Detroit City away. I'm not going to comment on the neckbeards before I get in trouble. Indy 11 in May.
Yep.
All right. And then you move on. Obviously, you have Lights in June.
When is the Indy 500?
When is the... Ooh.
That right? Indy 500 date.
If it is that weekend...
Am I crazy? Because I feel... May 26th.
It is that weekend.
Oh, boy. That's the day before the Indy 500.
Why is it
that's crazy.
Every time...
That's crazy.
Rising have away trips. They're always timed with stuff that's going on locally.
That's kind of nuts.
It's like it's all just deliberately to mess with us and make these trips awkward.
Oh man, it's kind of intriguing. Anyway,
all right, we move on.
June 1st, little lights away.
Lights away. El Paso Locomotive on June 15th. Memphis on a Friday.
I like how I say and list the key away days, and this man just goes through every single one.
But there's not that many. Memphis in June, end of June on a Friday.
Humid.
Yeah, it is quite humid there. We were there 22, and it was in July, and it was sticky. It was hot. It was sticky. It was not fun. San Antonio. That one coming in early July. Hartford, end of July, another Friday night away game. Why are all these games on Friday nights?
I'll make the schedule.
Yeah, well, I'm blaming you, Max. You move on then. You have a Saturday in Colorado Springs in August. Loudon, end of August on a Labor Day weekend. Interesting long weekend up in DC.
Oh, yes.
Sacramento Republic in the middle of September. Orange County, late September on a Wednesday. New Mexico, October the 9th as a Wednesday game, followed by a Saturday in Oakland. And then rounding out the season, very end, New City away, October 26th.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A lot of stuff going on, right? If you're kind of looking at the league picture again, Rhode Island, they start their expansion season, their inaugural season. North Carolina FC back in the league. And again, as we mentioned earlier, RGV, they folded. They done, some might say, in a box. And then in order to, the fun alignment, everything like that, Memphis and Tulsa are now in the Western Conference to maintain 12 teams in each conference. So it's going to be interesting, right? New opponents, new faces that are going to be playing a little bit different and all that stuff. But, if we're looking about this...
Memphis are not happy they're in the West, by the way.
I mean...
Memphis are not... I've seen some fans.
Yeah, the West is...
But what are you going to do? I mean, they're not happy they're in the West because it means certain things like, for example, obviously they have a rivalry with Birmingham and Legion where they're only going to play them once this season. It's going to be away from home because they're in different conferences. But it's a difficult one that there's not really any easy way to fix.
Yes, I would...
Just numbers. You can't really work it out in any other way.
Of course. We're going to ask the same question next week as we dive further in the schedule. But Mr. Owen Evans and the chat, I want full responses. I'm going to put you on the spot. 34 matches played. How many points does Phoenix Rising have at the end of the regular season? Chat, please throw your answers in as well.
That is putting me on the spot. Give me a second. I'm going to cheat slightly by just looking up the league table from this past year and get a feel for just kind of what it looks like. Oh.
Phoenix Rising last year finished with 48. Okay. 48 points. Here we'll start with this. Do they get finish more, less, or the same?
More.
48. Okay.
More.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely more.
Okay.
We're going to put them at 57.
57. Stat like your Reese going with 102. I like it. That man thinks they're going to win every single match. Love that. Okay. It's ambitious.
Just a little bit.
I love it. Okay. So you said...
I'm not sure if the stuff they used to knock him out to get those wisdom teeth out is a one-off necessarily.
Certainly the wisdom must have been extracted with those teeth. Hey, got him. You said 53, was it?
57.
57. Okay, so if we're looking at last season, that would put them
in the second, third kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tied for second. Okay. Let's see point predictions with our half roster. Call me Pat. It's having fun. All righty. Thomas 73.
That would win the regular season title.
I like it.
That would win the regular season title last year.
Okay, McSquared 52 points. Okay, more. Okay, seeing it there. I like it. By the way, hit that like button, people. What are we doing? Whoever did the dislike, you're doing me and Owen a disservice. That's okay for him.
You're doing me a disservice. You're not. You're fair to man.
Turn that dislike upside down. The front upside down. 49-ish for Paul. Okay.
Maybe it was Scott Matchmaker Michaels.
Oh dear. That's a deep cut from you, the old Twitter account of OJEvans18. And a playoff win. I like that ball. Putting out the guarantees early. You said 57. I'll go. Man, I mean, just based off knowing what we have now, I mean, I'll go 50. I'll go 50. I mean, I don't even know if this mathematically possible. Do 54. We'll do 54.
Going 54. Yeah. You're a lot more. Okay.
I'm a balanced man.
Yeah.
Damon 59. Like that. Okay. Like I said, I mean, right. To be fair to Golan Pat, as you point out, yes, half our roster needs to take shape, but we have a lot of guys signed. There's a lot of familiarity. Put it this way: if we were asking this question last season, when you only have 3 returners or so, it's a very different proposition.
Yes.
You have no idea. You are shooting completely in the dark. This is at least a thought exercise, right? You can kind of see what other teams are doing. But even Phoenix Rising, you go from a season where you have all types of turnover to you are now one of the more solidified teams, at least in the West.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
At least on your top end roster, you're looking pretty decent.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Damon, I think the fact we get Memphis and Tulsa twice helps our points. I agree. But like I said, we're going to dive further into the season. Next week's episode. Anything else that you'd like to cover in today's?
Should we talk about RGV? Should we talk about the death of RGV?
Let's do it.
From a more serious perspective, I think this is something that we've felt rumbling for a while. It's no surprise. I mean, if you've seen those games, you've been to those games, you've watched enough on TV to see that they don't really draw fans. I think it might sound harsh, but I'm not being harsh. If you've watched those games, right, the stadium is mostly empty, right? It was a poorly. It's something that also makes me laugh because it was built as a football stadium, and yet the sightlines are atrocious. Like the angle of the stand, you can't even see the near touchline. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look, they had their problems. I don't think they were ever seriously competitors. They were always that team that would kind of maybe sneak into the final playoff spot, and that was about as far as they went. But I think the writing on the wall was on the wall a lot as soon as the coach leaves and as soon as you start seeing that players aren't necessarily coming back. It did get a reaction from the Players Union, of course. USLPA did put out a statement when they were talking about how you compare this with San Diego in some ways and just how no notice is really being given to these players.
Sure.
They've just kind of been left to fend for themselves now and work out what's going to happen next season. Now, they do get 2 months of pay. That's agreed in the collective bargaining agreement that players who are still under contract for next season will be given 2 months pay before being let go. So they are obviously free to sign with anyone at this point. Yeah. Be interesting to see if there's anyone worth stealing over from RGV. Be interesting to see where, really, I mean, if you look at guys like Davila as a real good example, and where Taylor Davila is going to end up, I think is an important question, and remains interesting to see quite what's going to happen in cases like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, they were formed ultimately, as Damon says in the chat, they were formed as a development club. They were a reserve team for Houston Dynamo. They were never in it necessarily for really competing at this level. And ultimately, look, I think the writing was on the wall. It's been on the wall for a while. They haven't been that good on the field. They haven't been good at all off the field. Yeah. And it was always a matter of time, I think, with RGV. Yeah. What are your favorite RGV memories, Max?
Oh, boy. No, I can't. People, I see Siley in the chat.
It was the place where dreams went to die. Now the club has died there.
Make sure to go to PHNX Locker to stock up on all your holiday gifts ahead of Christmas for any last-minute orders.
That's a transition.
That's a transition. Things that go in a box, lots of gifts and everything from the PHNXLocker.com.
We're going with this, are we?
You can. I'm just steering in the skid, buddy. You can stock up on all great shirts. Can you look at us? We are matching here.
I didn't realize this was going to be the case.
We coordinated absolutely.
We did not.
He wanted this to happen. It's phenomenal. We are coordinating here. Here's the thing. A lot of people, they're already getting the championship shirts. They're getting all the other stuff from PHNX Locker. You become a diehard. It is something. It is electronic. You can wrap it up. You can maybe print the receipt, putting in a little stocking stuffer. It's a really great gift. All right. Of course, you can pick a free shirt of your choice. You see the Champions tee on screen. You can get that for free. When you become a diehard, you get a free shirt or hat every single year of your membership.
You know what the best part of being a diehard is?
Yes, you get exclusive content. And what is it?
You get exclusive content. Like when Max gets his tattoo, we're going to stream that exclusively for diehard.
Only a diehard.
You can watch him get it. I will be there giving live commentary as we go along. It's going to be great. He's getting a tattoo.
I see multiple diehards in the chat right now. Listen, guys, we do try to have a lot of fun with this. We really are always thinking of different things we can do to beef up our diehard membership, our offerings, right? Again, literally the only place you'll be able to see me get a tattoo. And by the way, we're narrowing in on a date. It will be within about a month. More details to come. I promise you, more details to come will be happening. Yep. You have to get a diehard membership. The only way to check it out, it's PHNXLocker.com. All types of stuff going on. Diehards are getting assigned 8x10 of Max getting a tattoo.
100%. There's actually another comment further up. I do want to address it, though.
Yes, of course.
We've just finished up the Die Hard.
Yes, of course. Go for it.
Where is it? Goatyman Pat. Is RGV still around if they dropped to League 1 or League 2 a couple of years ago? I say yes. I say no, Pat. You know why? Because flying to and from RGV is a nightmare, and flying to other League 1 cities is going to be a nightmare. So you've just got to bear in mind that logistically, they're in a very isolated part of the country. Yep. that is not easy to get to, makes travel quite difficult and expensive. It is, look, I have done so many away days in this league. That is one of the most expensive to get to. It's just hard.
Oh, and if I could say, there was a, I ran into you at a Mercury game one time, and we just happened to run into it. I was talking to hey, you're on the road a lot, and you just started one of the very first times I talked to you outside of this was you complaining about our TV. You were talking about how terrible it was, and I was like, "Oh, it must be cool. I get to travel all these places." Like, no, our TV sucks. and we were in the club area, and it's like, "Oh, I got to get going, because the game's going back," and you were still going off on our TV.
Oh no, that place is awful. I mean, I say this about a lot of Texas, right? And this is where we get controversial now. I feel like outside of one or two cities, Texas is just if you just made the suburbs a city, that's Texas. It's just kind of dull. Pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, congratulations to Albuquerque, now the undisputed worst away day in the league.
Even when you're going to a worse away day, Shady Rays can make it that much better. It can help see whatever sites you have. Vegas, you can't do much, but Shady Rays, it can help as much as I can. I rock Shady Rays on my trip to Vegas on that bus ride from hell. The bus was nice. It was the environment and the trolls, of which there were many. But yes, no more RGV. Can go to Vegas. Can go all to the away days in some Shady Rays. All great stuff. They had the
and if, on that away day, they get broken.
Yes, if head coach Juan Guerra daps you up and breaks your Shady Rays, they have a fantastic replacement policy. You break your glasses, you lose your glasses. Even on day one, they will give you a brand new pair. No questions asked. It's literally kind of insane of a business model, but we love it. Exclusively for you guys. Why don't you guys do me a favor? Again, it is the holiday season, is the time to give. Go to shadyrays.com. Use promo code PHNX. Again, shadyrays.com, promo code PHNX. Get 50% off 2 pairs, not 1, but 2 pairs of polarized shades. Try it for yourself today. The shades rate 5 stars or better. 250,000 people. That's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
My guy. And while you're drinking Shady Rays, you're looking pretty cool. You're also looking pretty cool. Drinking a little 4 Peaks, buddy. Cheers. Right. We got these from the holiday advent calendar box.
Speaking of which, go grab that.
Yes, of course.
All right, we got to open today's date. It's an advent calendar for beer.
Yeah, so people are slacking. So
it's the 19th today, right?
Smash it open.
Yep.
Do it now.
We're going in.
Do it now.
Jesus, it's a bit...
This is like you're trying to open the lottery balls.
There we go.
What do we have?
It's a bottle. It's a bottle.
Hey!
Golden lager.
Oh, the golden lager.
4 Peaks golden
lager. The golden
lager.
age of the PHNX Rising
You got a
podcast.
bottle opener there, Max?
No, Danielle. Producer Danielle, you have a bottle opener?
Maybe.
Whoa, hold on. We're checking.
Hold on.
Nope, doesn't look like it over here.
No. Max.
What do you mean me?
I blame Max. We've got the beer out, but we can't open it.
We have a...
I do know where one is. Hang on.
Yes.
Just stretch. Just talk about...
Don't worry. We'll talk and we'll kill time while producer
worry.
Danielle goes. Now, we're being left unsupervised, so this is clearly... This is a bad decision.
I'm having second thoughts when you put it like that.
No, we're perfectly fine. Don't worry, Daniel. We'll talk about 4 Peaks. Now, what do you like about 4 Peaks, Max?
What do I not love, dude? It's, actually...
I've started him on this now, and we'll never go.
No, this is actually a great point. I was talking to my friends at 4 Peaks, right? The great people over there. We've had a good number of watch parties, right, for World Cups and stuff like that. All I'll say is this, going off of kind of the diehard stuff that we did, of, hey, a little tournament for Euros, for a little Copa America. Make sure to, stick tuned with us throughout the summer because we are going to be doing a couple of watch parties at 4 Peaks for these tournaments, man. So, again, it's a place to be. It's good beers, good people, and Owen. But yeah, 4 Peaks. Always great stuff. Go to their 8th Street Pub. Check them out at 4 Peaks Brew and at 4 Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest and greatest going on with Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly.
Was Jake too sad about Arteaga to show up, says Michael?
Yeah, I don't know. It must be. Risa saying just use your teeth, Max, to open up the ball opener. Use yours. Oh, wait, you lost all of yours today.
No wisdom teeth, Max.
Oh, I don't
know what that means?
I've had my wisdom teeth pulled out.
You don't have any wisdom, in fairness. So.
That's literally the same joke I made. No, don't. It's not even funny.
It's better when I do it.
No, it's not. It's horrible.
All right.
All right.
What are we ending on the show on here, Max?
Well,
we got a while. We gotta talk about...
you know, we like to end the show with a bang, and you know, Owen, you had a particular rant you would like to get
I gotta
off
go
your
on
chest.
a rant before we've got some other fun stuff to come later, but
the floor is yours, sir.
We're having some rants and talking.
I'm just
about
gonna
it.
sit here and
talk
drink
about
a beer.
the Open Cup, and I think we'll talk back and forth.
Of course.
Before I move on to the rant, we're gonna build up to it, right?
Paint the picture.
So obviously the news drops on Friday about MLS saying that it will not enter teams into the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup for next season. It will instead send its MLS Next Pro teams in Division 3. Now, of course, the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup is the longest running tournament in this country. Goes back to the 1910s, so it's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
And in an environment where I think American footballing landscape kind of calls for this sense of legitimacy that they can't really get because none of the clubs are more than about 30 years old. The Open Cup's one of the true, almost legitimate tradition, you know, like just historical. It's actually got something to it. And so MLS decided to pull out of that. They're citing fixture congestion. Of course, they do so knowing that they will be adding more of their own dumb games to fill the season. You know, what do we need? Cash grab. When do we want it? Leagues Cup, apparently. It's just I mean, look, when we look at it big picture, it's sad to see. Max, what do you think? Go on, you start this, and I'll
sure. So first, to address Andrew's comment, they're ending the U.S. Open Cup is a question. No, they're not. No, MLS is not participating in it. You know,
well, MLS is saying they're not.
Right, they're saying they're not participating. My whole thing is this: it's sad to see from the legacy aspect of the U.S. Open Cup. You know, you know, here's the thing, man. You bill it as, these Cinderella stories and all that stuff. Does it happen often? No, but that's the beauty of the Open Cup and why, like, it's almost been this cult kind of following over the years, is you see random things happen. You see freaking, what was the team in Oregon or whatever competing in the U.S. Open Cup? Octopus FC? Or
Sharktopus.
What's that?
Sharktopus.
Sharktopus. That's it.
From Seattle, yeah. Seattle Recreational Adult Team Soccer, or RATS as the league is abbreviated.
You see what I've done. You see things like that, all that these teams competing. And MLS to not really essentially they are looking to go away from that. It really is a cash grab because the Open Cup, and Don Garber himself has admittedly said, essentially criticized the Open Cup model, how teams are compensated. And that's one thing. My thing is this. While I'm disappointed to see it happening, if I can put a spin zone on it, I'm trying to find the silver lining here. MLS never prioritized Open Cup at all. Like literally, really not at all. So the one silver lining I can take from this is that we are actually going to see more attention being paid to these stories being told.
But here's the thing, right? And this is where I'll push back on this. You can argue that maybe if the current system goes on, you know, with the CONCACAF spot there, right? And no MLS though still. Yeah, you might be able to get away with that after that. But as soon as that CONCACAF Champions Cup spot goes away, how many professional teams are really caring? And the problem is now, you've also then got yourselves in a position whereby it's been proven that fundamentally you don't have to pay attention to professional league standards. Of course, remember the document that provides the basis for sanctioning for professional divisions in the US does say that Division 1 teams must participate in every US soccer and CONCACAF competition for which they are eligible. Well, MLS is now trying to pretend they don't have to do that. I think you get to a point where the Open Cup probably goes back towards what it was in the NASL days and the pre-MLS days, where it's an amateur competition. I fear that that's the direction this will go in, because when you take the top flight teams out, if you don't have the allure of the CONCACAF Champions Cup spot kind of there,
sure,
and I fear that spot will go away. I don't think long term you're going to have it. I think you have to be real with yourselves here, right? If you're Phoenix Rising and this is how it plays out this season, you go this year, forget the league, play for the cup. Why? Because if you can get a spot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, That's bigger. You've won the league already. Who cares about the league? Win the cup. But I don't think that'll be there forever. I think you'll have a year or two. And what will happen is the USL teams that win it, presuming USL teams win it, NISA teams, of course, good as well. Possible. Will ultimately go to CONCACAF Champions Cup and probably be embarrassed in the first round if they draw a Mexican team, right? We've got to be real, right? If you're going and playing a two-legged affair and it's a top-flight Mexican team that you're going to take it seriously, they're going to put a fair few goals on you.
Sure.
That's just what's going to happen, right? And that will then be pointed to as the rationale for why the Cup can't have it, because they've been proven they can't compete on the continental stage. I fear that's going to happen. Look, the bigger issue here, I think, and this is where we get into it, I know that it's something that was discussed on Football Americas, of course, Sebastian Salazar going as far as to say that US soccer should consider stripping MLS of its Division 1 status. And broadly speaking, I agree. Look, at the end of the day, if you are a national governing body and you aren't governing, what are you doing? That's the question, right? If you are a national governing body, if you are US soccer right now and you are not enforcing your own rules, you are willing to allow the leagues to ultimately act as though it's the Wild West and they can do whatever they want, what is the purpose of a national governing body? The whole point is that they oversee it, right? There's a lot of things that I know just the way that US soccer is set up, it's far more, kind of, to be perfectly frank, just anarchy than most other national governing bodies for football around the world. But at the same time, there's only so far that you can go with that. Look, outside of the national teams, where else is US soccer going to make money? What else is a profitable exercise that US soccer participates in? The US Soccer Federation, beyond the senior national teams and potentially the Open Cup. The Open Cup hasn't made a lot of money in the past. But again, we know there's so many more bits to this, right? You've got to think about how the commercial elements of US soccer were handled originally by Soccer United Marketing, an offshoot of MLS. And US soccer only got that back recently. Well, last year, they were very much focused on making sure they got the most important thing they could get done last year, right? And that was the sale of the broadcasting rights for the national teams. That was critical for US soccer at the time. They have been building up their commercial wing since. They've been continuously adding to it. And I think by the end of the season, you ended up with a product that was better. The TV broadcasts were better with the partnership with CBS by the end of the last Open Cup. And, of course, multiple people are saying, and I think we've all been hearing it as well, that US soccer was going to try and hit the Open Cup a lot harder this year and really try and promote this and make it a much, much bigger thing. Obviously, that's being kneecapped now. And I think it's something that just, if you're US soccer, how do you stand by and just let MLS do this at this point? It's written in the rules, right? But here's the thing, MLS, money for who? Money for who?
What?
This is the point. I understand why MLS is doing it. They're doing it for money. What is US soccer doing?
Oh, I mean, they're not enforcing it. They're
not enforcing it. You're right. But this is not advantageous to US soccer to be doing this.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, to me, it's putting more of your resources into the competitions where you're looking to grow the game. See, listen, I understand from a pure revenue standpoint, it behooves you to participate in more into more cups, into more competitions. That way you're able to maximize those different pots. What I think MLS is trying to go through.
No, I know what MLS is doing. I just don't get US soccer.
Right. So what I'm saying is for MLS and US soccer, to me, this is almost like, dare I even say this is a bigger ploy where you're looking at 2026 in mind and trying to maximize those competitions internationally, where you're putting more of a focus on a broader landscape that's going to be coming here to the country here in a couple of years. Why do I want to focus on this little US Open Cup where there's multiple, where there's little
what else are they doing? They're playing the same teams every year. Look, what do you want to be? Do you want to be boring like every other American sporting entity? Where you play the same 30 teams every single year. You play them a stupid number of times. Let's do it every 2 days. Why not? Let's do it every 2 days.
I love it.
Okay, great. Who cares? Why not? Why not? Why not just do the same stuff every single year in this closed shop league that ultimately goes nowhere, where you play for months and months and months? It doesn't really matter, because at the end of the season, what we're going to do, we're going to let 2/3 of the team in anyway, and they're going to play 4 games, and that's what's going to decide who ultimately wins, right? Why don't we keep going? Keep pumping those up. Let's keep playing more games against teams from the Mexican League. Watch them come here, and you see 2 teams come in and play in front of an empty stadium because they're 2 of the newer teams down in the Mexican League that are playing a game in America. All the Mexican teams have to play in America the entire month. Why? Money. right? They hated it. They hated it. It's pretty clear that multiple of the Mexican clubs, the Mexican fans were deriding the tournament. It was pointless.
Yeah.
It is a pointless money grab that doesn't even grow the game. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form. The Open Cup actually has the potential, knowing how it's regionalized, knowing how what it would actually do. If you're MLS and you're thinking long-term, you have the ability to go out there. It's regionalized. You're going to be playing potentially away games in smaller markets that aren't a million miles away from where you're from, but you're bringing your product on the road and bringing it to people and letting them experience it for the first time. And yes, of course you want those people to celebrate the smaller clubs as well. From our perspective, that's what we're interested in as well. We want to see those smaller clubs get the backing that they deserve. But at the same time, you're getting them out in the communities. All they're doing, again, it's the usual cash grab. It's the same that it has been all along, right? From Apple's perspective as well, we've got to be honest, all the Apple TV stuff, let's also not beat around the bush here. We know full well that no small part of this is the fact that they bring Messi in and they want to be able to control his image, his use. The idea that CBS were able to do a Messi cam in the Open Cup semi-final, I'm sure that would grate with people at Apple. But this is just wrong. This is wrong, pulling out of the cup in this way. Right? MLS might want to be the NFL. It is not the NFL. You exist in a global system. You are not the NFL. You don't get to rewrite these rules. You shouldn't get to rewrite these rules. And it's time for the national governing body to actually do some governing. You don't get to pretend you exist outside of a pyramid. You exist in a pyramid, whether it's connected by promotion relegation, or it's not. You exist in that pyramid. You exist in that broader landscape that every other league around the world does. Right, look, it's always, the thing that makes me laugh with it is people always say, well, MLS is, I think the way that certain, I don't expect US soccer is going to cut MLS off anytime soon, okay? I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. Of course, next pro teams aren't eligible to play in this competition anyway. So I find it funny that MLS is suggesting they're going to do that. But if US soccer did play ultimately the gave him the death penalty of sorts, right? Mm-hmm. And completely unsanctioned MLS, do you honestly think they'd exist as a rebel league? Of course they wouldn't. Look, they aren't big enough to justify their brands, people putting their careers at risk to play in a rebel league for, no offense to our DMVR friends, Colorado Rapids. I don't think they'd disagree with that one. And you've seen the owners aren't willing to put the money in. The only way you do that is by paying Saudi money, and they're not paying Saudi money. They don't want to. If they wanted to, they'd have been able to expand rosters. They'd have been able to do all of these various steps that would have helped dealing with fixture congestion. But they don't want to do that. So what makes you think they're going to spend that money? Seriously now. Seriously. What makes you think that? So what we're in now is, I'm going to try and wrap this up now. What we're in now is a situation whereby, oh God, every time I started, there's more that I'm thinking of here. And we have to remember that, again, if we turn around and look at this from a perspective of even just looking at it from, I've seen multiple MLS kind of accounts, the way they'll talk about how the magic of the cup never really felt it. Of course you won't. You're an MLS team.
Yep.
You're never going to feel that magic. The reason that people love things like the FA Cup is that most clubs have experienced being the underdog in those games.
Right.
Most clubs, even if they're in the Premier League now, have had spells outside of the Premier League. They understand what it's like to be playing a team from a higher division. And MLS teams just don't have that by and large. A handful of them do, but not many of them. And then they'd say things about how, I remember there's one guy from LAFC talking about how... It's funny because he was also one of the ones complaining about how the minute anyone claps back at you about your views, they're like, oh, well, you must be on the payroll. And this guy's complaining people are saying that when he's actually on the payroll. Sure. But he was saying about how the FA Cup was like this fan-built thing. And, have you seen the attendances for it? It's like, I've seen attendances for FA Cup games that are atrocious, right? Like, you may be watching the big clubs who could fill... 100,000 as they play in the International Champions Cup, which you don't talk about the magic of that, do you? But, they sell 100,000 tickets to losers over here who'll spend that money. No offense to anyone in the viewing us who may be one of those. But am I wrong if you're spending $80 for a friendly?
I'm not spending $80.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's good. It's good in theory, horrible in practice.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But they draw crowds for those as well. I mean, no one cares about that. Look, at the end of the day, the key.
It's the long end of the day, buddy.
It's the long end of the day.
Shoot.
I've been on about this for a while now. No, I think it's an atrocious
This
decision.
might be your best rant. This is definitely up there.
I think it's an atrocious decision. I think it spits in the face of the rest of the pyramid. I think it's a real existential question now for US soccer to determine what it wants to be. I think AGM for US soccer in February is going to be very interesting.
Oh dear gosh, I know you'll be tuning in that one.
I'm going to be watching that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I just think it's a mess. They shouldn't have done this. I still don't think that this is entirely played out. I think there's more to come. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but no, it's shocking that they choose to make these kind of decisions, and shows, I think, a degree of just how out of touch they are. At the end of the day, I've said this with Rising, and I'll say this with MLS. If you choose to try and play by the NFL's game plan, you're never going to beat them. The only way you stand out in this landscape is by providing something different. Football has the ability to do that, but they're going to shoot themselves in the foot and prevent it from happening.
Mic drop. I don't even know how to follow that. I will.
We'll follow it up. But Reese is giving me some stick in the chat. So you know what?
No, hold on. Before just real quick, because you've been talking for fucking. Sorry, curse. 4 or 5 minutes, and that was.
It's been a while.
It was one heck of a rant. I will say. I'm not going to go even close to as long as you would. Which again, first off, fantastic. Again,
I could have kept going.
I know you could.
Paul in the chat saying I have nowhere to go. Keep him going.
You were asking me some questions, and I'm giving you some of the hypotheticals, some of the devil's advocate. I completely agree.
Don't you play devil's advocate now? I've seen enough of these idiots on Twitter.
This is fair. I will not devil's advocate. I agree with you in the sense of the fact that MLS is pulling out of the cup, or they're wanting to pull out of the cup. To me, as we mentioned, it's not just a money grab sort of thing, but even if you mention from the U.S. soccer perspective, I think rightly, wrongly, the way that this looks from a U.S. soccer perspective is I think we have seen that grassroots marketing in this country from a lowest level really does have a lot of effect. It has a lot of effect, whether it's going to Phoenix Rising matches, whether it's going to, even lower division teams, whether it's playing in youth, where you're watching your amateur teams, things like that is how soccer trickles down in this country, and you're able to grow something. You're able to grow a soccer fan at the most local level. You are always going to have people who are going to watch the U.S. men's national team or watch your Premier League club or whatever, but you are always, 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 for the diehard fans, who to me is a really key way to grow in this country, it's those people tapping in to those local teams. When you have MLS pulling out of the Open Cup, as much of an opportunity it can give to those local teams, what MLS is broadcasting and what U.S. soccer, by extension, is broadcasting, is saying, we don't want to take the slow burn legwork that it takes to grow the U.S. Open Cup, the most storied cup competition in this country, and instead, we would rather take a quick sprint, have a competition that puts us even further to varying degrees of success, that is playing Liga MX. We're going to go into a competition. We're going to fully enforce our own league, and really try to get as much as we can on the grander stage, rather than, quote unquote, from probably MLS and U.S. soccer's perspective, wasting our time with the U.S. Open Cup, knowing that the World Cup is in 2026. We don't see the value in investing in the Open Cup, and we'd rather put our time, our resources, our money elsewhere. I don't agree with the decision, but that, to me, is what I believe they're thinking of.
You there
please,
a little bit,
please.
And I want to say why this, in my mind, is going to be the wrong thing. They're approaching, if you're going to go down that kind of route whereby it's like MLS matters and nothing else does, which is kind of the message is being sent by pulling out of the Open Cup, really.
Right, agreed.
You're going down the route of what it is whereby most American sports, in the nicest possible way, sports is a TV show here. Okay? For the vast majority of the population, it is, right? You don't have a team necessarily in your immediate vicinity. You know, even if you do, it's one team in a big city, massive city.
Yeah.
It's a TV show. The problem that MLS has is if sports is a TV show in the first place, there's better TV shows to watch than MLS. Okay, right? There are better leagues around the world that you could be watching.
Of course.
And so if you're only going to ever watch them on TV anyway, why pick your local team? And they're not that local. Why pick your regional team then, say in MLS, when you could pick someone from Europe that's more fun to watch, potentially? That's the problem with saying that you're going to get yourself into this position where football is just something to be watched on TV. There is better product elsewhere. And you're not going to get to be as good as those product without either investing, which the owners show no willingness to do in MLS, based on their refusal to change roster rules we saw last week, or by providing something that's just different, right? That's the thing. What are they providing that's different? They're not.
Yeah. It's a competition. You're moving away from a competition that has been established for literally over a century to emphasize your own playoffs. Shameful. That has changed that is not a
shame.
MLS playoffs format has changed every 2 years, and then you're also looking
best of three, boys.
Honestly, yeah, and you're looking to promote a competition that it doesn't
remember
make
when
sense.
The Leagues Cup was a game. Remember when the Leagues Cup was a tournament for also-rans that didn't manage to qualify for CONCACAF competitions? Do you remember that? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's something that I think we unfortunately just kind of. We always had the feeling that this is how MLS views these sort of things. Again, their actions and the teams they put out and how they complain about it and how they view the Open Cup. And to now see it out in the open.
But it's cool though, because you see stuff like Don Garber complaining about the quality of the fields they have to play in the Open Cup. Meanwhile, you have Vancouver Whitecaps having to play their Champions Cup game an hour and a half ferry away because their stadium's not available.
Oy.
Who's the joke league now? In a 6,000-seater stadium.
Yeah,
that's where they're playing their Champions Cup match. The joke.
Yeah.
And then they complain about the Open Cup? Give me a break. Nonsense.
Yeah, it's trying to put a wrap on this entire topic, this saga, and ongoing. It's going to be tough. One thing that you can wrap up is a burrito from our friends at Burrito Express. Yeah, they
Max, why are you doing this to me?
We gotta move. Burrito Express. They have the breakfast burritos. They have the breakfast supremes. It's a Totri favorite. Watching out there, PHNX Sun Devils pod. Burrito Express, love them. Shout out their Tempe location. It's awesome. They support ASU athletes everywhere, right? We have all different kinds of guys. I know Jalen Conyers been a friend of the program. All different types of people. Shout out Burrito Express. They always are doing NIL deals. They really are supporting the community. They have fantastic burritos. Literally some of the best breakfast burritos I have had, bar none.
Some good stuff.
They do. Check them out at Burrito Express. All their different locations throughout the valley, as well as on Twitter at BurritoEXP. Of course, also check out our friends at OG's Brands. I'm trying to remain light after that conversation because this man went on an all-time rant, and I love it. This is literally Owain Evans. No one else does it quite like him. So trying to chill out. A little indica of the OG's variety, whether it is the minis, whether it is the creams, the fruits. They got the indicas, which I love so much. But they also have the sativas. They have their big OGs, which is a massive 100 milligram OGs, which is perforated. You can take a little chunk off, get it to go. They have their new live resin OGs. It's all types of great stuff. Check out our friends at OG's Brands on all platforms at OG's Brands. Find them online at ogsbrands.com to find them at a local dispensary near you. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Let's end the show with some fun.
Yeah.
I heard you mentioned that there was a certain stat lackey that was chirping.
Hang on.
Yes.
He was. But you know what?
Oh, yes.
Someone is coming to bring us some festive cheer.
What?
Someone is coming to bring us some festive cheer,
What?
and it is...
Wait, what is this?
The Stat Lackey Reese.
Ah,
Look at this.
I knew
This is Stat Lackey, I'm told.
Oh,
Look at
Stat
this.
Lackey. Man, I mean, I know the wisdom teeth got brought out, but shoot, they that laughing gas hitting hard, man. Goodness.
He's having a great time there. Great time. I'm waiting for it to pop up in the chat and leave a like
what
as well.
The fuck is that? what is that? Oh, that's a new one.
I was very surprised.
Oh my, that's that is.
That was Max's reaction when he saw the stat lackey picture for the first time.
So producer, no, was that already made? Did you just make that?
That's actually your reaction to win the Indy 500. So that's from today.
Oh, you just made that?
Yeah, it's from today.
Thank you. I mean, it's good for content, but that's what I don't. What? Who is friends with my dad on Facebook, Stat Lackey? You'll never know. You'll never know. We're all friends here at the PHNX Rising Podcast. It's been an episode. Holy heck, it's been an episode. We appreciate you guys joining us.
It's like, thanks, Reese. We can tell that was from you.
You're the algorithm, Stat Lackey. Yeah, no. Appreciate everyone joining us here on the PHNX Rising Podcast. It's been quite an episode. It's nice to have Owain back. Hate to say that, but it is nice having him back. We'll get Tie Guy Jake Anderson on the pod as well.
Stop making it Tie Guy. It's Tie Man.
Yeah, but Tie Guy has a nice.
He is Tie Man.
You know what? The chat will determine his fate.
Tie Man.
Tie Man or Tie Guy. The chat will determine his fate, as they always do. Right. We will be back next week, not on Tuesday, but Thursday at 6 p.m. Again, we will put out a reminder next week.
Max needs a bit of recovery time, getting that tattoo and all.
You quite literally suggested and requested.
Yeah,
to be on Thursday.
It's not coming next week, unfortunately.
Is it Boxing Day, you said? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, instead of Tuesday, yeah. So
okay, this is fair.
Moving it around.
All righty. Well, of course, follow, at PHNX _ rising for all the updates and fun. In the meantime, because double the underscore.
Double the fun. Yeah.
You were not very convinced on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting to see if you wanted me to do a different variety, but double the fun.
That is your own fun.
Yeah,
That's
the original.
Yes. You can follow.
That predates you on this podcast.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Of course it does. It's a legacy from when you and Ramon and Deadwin very first started this podcast.
Deadwin, yeah. Wow, that's a name we don't hear very often.
Hey, got to keep him alive.
Yeah.
He's alive and well. You can follow me on Twitter.
He's alive and well.
Just want to caveat that. You can follow on Twitter.
He's working for the Astros, so I don't know if we can say he's well, but he is alive.
You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You could follow Owain on Twitter at OJEvans18. I'm not going to give a plug to Stat Lackey because, he was a baby in the photo and also.
Wait, can we have a look at that one more time?
One more time for the people.
Stat Lackey, there he is.
Got him, little baby Reese. Oh, that laughing gas hitting hard. Oh boy. You can of course follow producer Danielle at Aprica Danielle on Twitter. So much fun, guys. Really love the energy. We'll be back next week. Again, follow us on Twitter for all the updates. Hit us up on Discord, phnxlocker.com. Get that before the holidays. It's Christmas around the corner. Let's freaking go. And it's a beautiful game, but it's so much more beautiful.
When Max gets the tattoo
when Phoenix Rising starts to do good things, does some signings, and MLS is not corrupt. Get out of here.
Max also gets the
We all silly like the mayor.